Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Let me just get myself hooked up here. Okay, there's the little doo doo doo. My earbuddies are connected, and so am I. I have quite the message today for you all. And it comes after a pretty profound experience I had this morning that I am excited to share. And also, I hear myself keep saying this, and this is what I love, is that I'm still processing it. These messages are coming in so um, powerfully and so viscerally that my body, I think this is what we have been prepared for. This is what we've been kind of talking about. Um, uh, our bodies are becoming more and more light bodies, so we are taking in more light, and this is more information, more data that is being illuminated. And we've been talking the last couple of weeks about illumination, revelation, and that I'm finding that in my own experience is speeding up with profound um, speed. And so I have a pretty big boost, a pretty big jump in message from just 2 days ago on the Peace Talks. That was the title for that was Flatline. And I'm not going to go through that, but it was about the flat line of our planet, this planet that we're on. And this is working in relation to our progressive ascension into the higher dimensional reality of Gaia, of new Earth, that is a higher expression. And we are building our sustenance, not our sustenance. We're building out, we're conditioning our bodies to be able to acclimate to the frequency, which is over 40 hertz or above in the gamma level state, the gamma state level frequencies, that we are being conditioned and trained to be able to live in those frequencies. So we're having to take some pretty high jumps, because now that our planet has basically flatlined, like her soul is gone at this point, and we are just now kind of operating. And we talked about, there's an evacuation plan in process, and it goes by resonance. Those of us who are now tuning in, I got like a hair on my lip. Those of us who are tuning into the resonance of, many of us are starting to tune into the resonance of this flat line. I want to share an experience that I had yesterday. I had, just kind of like after the download of the flatline and delivering the flatline message on which was my Tuesday, 2 days ago on Peace Talks. Yesterday was just kind of like meh. There was no activity, no communication. I didn't feel like anything. It wasn't like peaceful as in blissful. It was just quiet. It was really quiet. And I went for my evening walk with the dogs, and all of a sudden, before that, I had two conversations in a row, and one of them was with a friend. And she was asking me what my plan was as far as going back to the States. And I was like, I finally had a discussion. I finally realized that I just am not in resonance with going back to San Diego. And I've shared this story, not the story, but I've shared this progressive this progressive evolution of this next step for me here on Peace Talks. And I finally just called my husband Bud and just said, honey, I'm not meant to be in San Diego. Like that's not where I'm getting a hard no on it. And I have to honor that. So whatever that means, because he has a pretty good, not a pretty good opportunity, but just something that was lighting up his soul a little bit. But now that he's there, he's run into challenge after challenge after challenge. And he's starting to kind of get disheartened a little bit. And I was like, what if this is like what's happening is because we're not in resonance. You're not in resonance. And where we have really wanted to go in our hearts is Northern California. But there's the but. We keep rationalizing, well, we're closer to, to our boys in Southern California. Well, this opportunity, which is, not the total dream, but something that was the idea was filling Bud's mind and soul while he was here, and absolutely had zero fulfillment, had zero anything filling his soul. It seemed like a good idea. It seemed like a logical move. But what I've come to understand is logic. I have made so many geographic moves, even on this particular journey here in Europe, out of practicality, out of logic. And I have now learned the lesson. Like, I had to learn it many times. I've moved many times. And most of those times under, what makes logical sense. So I'll just go and make the most of it. And I told him, I said, honey, I don't have the energy anymore to make the most of anything. If it's not where my soul wants to be, I'm not interested. And my soul, if I'm going back to the States at all, which, you like, I have some trepidation about, but I'm really like, and yet most of the trepidation is just the energy it takes to get back there. I said it has to be Northern California or bus, like, or nothing. And he was like, I like that idea. And so I said, okay, let's just sleep on it. So I had that conversation, and then I had another conversation with a friend, and she was saying, well, that's great, you finally, you made up your mind. And well, and I was like, I know, but now the logistics of getting back, it doesn't make sense. There's, that, like, even if tomorrow it all of a sudden the way makes its way known, makes itself known, I literally don't have the energy to. I'm gonna move this lamp. I brought a lamp in case I run out of light, but it's kind of in my way. I have my sunlight now. I said, I literally just don't have the bandwidth to travel and go through all of the physical, mental, and emotional energy that it's going to take to travel. I mean, by myself is not like the thing, but it's with the dogs. Like, that's a huge amount of energy to hold for them. And I said, and then to get back there, and quite frankly, one of the things too that I keep kind of coming back to is, I've been on this spiritual journey for a long time, and in that long time, it has been a lot of releasing work and healing work, and it's been a lot of work. And at the same time, I've had this parallel life where, as I released, I gained a new husband, and we blended our family really well. We had a lot of adventures. So there was a lot of things that were filling my soul along the way. The things that were sucking my soul, which was, an ex-husband, and jobs that I had to sustain our family, that got so painful that when we finally kind of ripped out of what I call suburban life, normal life in Austin, to answer this call to go on this journey to. I mean, the journey logically was something, but I now realize it was a pilgrimage. It was a spiritual pilgrimage to strip Bud and I raw in all ways so that we could be completely energetically and spiritually naked. And I sit here in front of you completely naked and yet renewed. And um, in these last 18 months, though, part of this journey was stripping away my kids' presence in my daily life. It was stripping away all of the ways that I could turn to sustain and support my family. In like being able to go get a job, and I understood that I was being pulled out of the matrix altogether because it really wasn't able to support, and I was able to sink fully into doing this work I love. And although it has filled me in energetic and emotional ways and spiritual ways, quite frankly, the physical sustenance of my life has not been supported, quite honestly. And I have done all, marketing and, funnels and all the things that you're supposed to do for years. I've done it with business stuff, just trying to find a way to support myself with the work that I love. And I finally got to the point where I was like, I don't even want to do that. Like, that's not fun. I'm just going to do this, and I'm going to do it donation based. And and I have appreciated every single donation. And at the same time, it hasn't been a sustainable way for me. So there's still that. And so as I was telling my friend, I was like, so when I go back to the States, I'm here in Albania where it doesn't cost much to live. When I go back there, what does that mean? I don't have the strength. I don't have the energy, I feel like, to go back and like have to find a job. And I don't want to work to live again. I don't want to do that. I want to continue to do this work and have the freedom to do it and see where it goes. And at the same time, how am I going to live? So all the questions, right? All the questions were coming up. And when I got off of that phone call, I was so just blah. And I wasn't sad. I was just kind of just depleted. So I took the dogs for a walk in the evening, and I was going through the normal, park that we go through. And the Pleiades constellation was above me. And as I walked, I was just talking out loud. It's how I do it. So people who see me in the park probably think I'm crazy, because I was literally talking to myself, and I was just saying, I'm done. Like, I feel like I'm really done. I don't have energy anymore, and this isn't like me. And yet there's not much that's filling me up, and I'm really on my last legs. I'm on my last legs. But what I meant by that is, like, I have the most physically fit body. I just spit. Sorry if you saw that. Physically fit brings all the saliva up to the front of your mouth. And sometimes if you don't swallow, you spit it out. But because of this journey and shedding all of this emotional weight, it has created my body has shed weight, having to, hoof our groceries up in backpacks up hill after hill and steps after steps. I'm in really good shape. So my body's not going anywhere. I love and respect myself enough in this journey of life that I'm not going to take myself out of it. But I was like, I feel as though I'm done. I'm done here. And it was a really strange feeling that I had. So I came back and showered, and I went to bed. And at 3 o'clock in the morning, I actually now I'm getting into like where we're getting close to the message here. At 3 o'clock in the morning, I awakened, realizing that I heard my own, like my soul was saying, I'm flatlining. I'm flatlining. So at 3 a.m., I awakened to realize that I was in my own flatline process. I have no willingness to live. Again, not to die, but I have like no, like, what's the point? What's the point if it's going to be so hard? And the other thing that I want to add to this is I have received so many, like, not so many, but a couple of beautiful, beautiful messages since the flatline episode, the last episode, from those of you who were like, I feel it too. Like, video messages, and I got an email. I got another Instagram message of people feeling the same exact way, literally saying, "What are we doing this for?" And I think many of us have been on this journey for so long now, it feels like, and we've been doing this healing, and we've been holding this faith, we've been holding this truth, we've been holding this vision, we've been holding this belief that we are ascending, we are getting, moving into heaven on earth, and yet our realities haven't shifted. And we're seeing, more and more, of the yuck of life, and feeling the yuck of life. And we're not getting as much fulfillment out of this work. So many of us, and I think somebody, one of the messages I got was like, what are we doing this for? And that was when I woke up at 3 a.m., that was kind of like the energy I had. I'm like, what are we doing this for? So there is no willingness to even, like, to try. There's no willingness. Hold on, I need my glasses. What's the point? There's no energy. I have no energy to move physical locations at this point, to even join my husband and my boys now my hair's all weird. Like, what's the point of me just doing this? There's no motivation to really do, like, work. I haven't, I've talked about talking with Unified TV about, I pitched them and they liked it, and I just had to send a summary of that. That was like a month and 5 weeks ago, maybe. And I've heard nothing back. So I'm like, what is going on? Why am I so invisible in this world? And I know many of you feel that too. We're like doing all this work, but where's where do we get to see the something that we see that this is working? So yet I have this no willingness to keep living, and at the same time, I have a really healthy body, and I respect myself. But I would never take myself out of this game because I'm pretty invested at this point. I've come this far that now I want to know where this is leading. So as I'm having these thoughts of like truth, like illumined truth, and sometimes our illumined truth is the truth of how we feel. And I was having that moment last night, and all of a sudden the word respawn came on. Now I know respawn from my boys who play video games, and they'd be like, "Mama, come look at this game," and like that, oh, I respawned. And um so I was shown this idea that I'm going to explain, I'm going to read to you because I went further into it, and I immediately understood. I got like the telepathic understanding and the vision of it, and I was like, I like it, but I need to know more. I want to know more because there was some parts of my mind that were challenged with the old ideas, the old program of what we have been taught about in the inverted matrix about death and when a soul leaves your body. And I was like, I like what like what we're getting at here in this message, but at the same time, I need to know more. And immediately I fell asleep. Like they put me back to sleep. They're like, we'll get to you. And so I woke up, took the dogs for the walk, as I always talk about. When I came back, I sat and I said, okay, tell me more about this respawn process. So I'm going to read exactly what I was given. And a financial freak out. I'm so exhausted of working to live. Exactly. Hold that thought. Hold that thought, Brenna. Wait, I'm going to read this message to you. I read it for myself. It takes about 15 minutes because it's pretty in depth. And when I'm complete with it, I'm going to then show you, or I'm going to share with you how this worked, because I don't come on here and share anything that I haven't already done myself, that I haven't already implemented, that I haven't already experienced, so that I can share the experience. And what I will tell you is the experience I had after downloading this message. I literally downloaded it and it was so much for me to absorb. I was like, I need lunch. So I made myself a sandwich, and I'm watching on Netflix, Designated Survivor. And I was like, I'm going to watch an episode of that to like bring myself back down. And then I just allowed myself to be guided through this respawn process. So I'm going to share it with you, and y'all, like I'm still in the throes of integrating it, and I will probably sleep really heavy tonight. But here's what came through, okay? So this might be where you sit back, relax, close your eyes, and just listen, okay? All right. This is from Leo, my higher consciousness, my collective consciousness that guides me. Dear one, we will use the term respawn as it is something you understand and applies to lives in a video game. When a life dies in the game, it respawns to begin again and continue the game. In most games, you have a certain amount of lives you can respawn with, and then game over. Where do you think inspiration for these games come from? What is available for you when you know that this is actually something that you have access to? So much of your spiritual qualities have been hidden from you. You are in for lifetimes of mind-blowing realizations regarding your actual powers. Today is one of those moments in the time when you learn about a quality that will breathe new life into you, a rebirth, quite literally. You have been taught that you have one soul, and that one soul stays within your physical body, as well as the emotional and energetic body as well. The soul is your spiritual body. You have been taught to believe that when your physical body decides to take its last breath, the soul ascends into its next mission and incarnation, in the next incarnation. Just like most of what you've been taught, only a sliver of that is true. It's truth deceptively manipulated to keep you a weakened fraction of what is rightfully yours to express and know in physical form. We ask you to critically think with us through the facts that you do know to be true. You know your physical body continues to shed and regenerate almost daily as part of its existence. You take in nourishment, extract the sustenance, and eliminate the rest. Your hair and skin shed, and a new layer regenerates your cells and tissue continue to regenerate. Your cells and tissue continue to regenerate. All of this is done in perfect divine order when the whole multidimensional system is healthy, leading to a healthy, regenerative physical system. Let's continue. Your emotional body is designed to be a constant flow of energy in, extract the intelligence, the sustenance, and eliminates the rest, lets it go. Healthy energy systems flow in the torus formation, energy in, then energy out. Unhealthy systems do not flow. Energy comes in, gets stuck or clogs up the physical body, which stops the physical systems from regenerating properly, leading to dis-ease, degeneration, and aging, eventually death. Healthy energy systems allow the flow of energy in, extract the data or the intelligence, feed the mental body, and release the used energy. All of this is done in perfect divine order when the whole multidimensional system is healthy, leading to a regenerative energy system. Let's continue. Your mental strata is designed to be in constant expansion, in a constant state of regenerative thinking. It receives intelligence from the spirit, soul level, and the emotional energetic strata, extracts the new insights, perspectives, intelligence, revelations, and truths, upgrades to new beliefs, patterns, and behaviors that also expand human function and the physical systems of the brain and nervous systems. It eliminates the old, outdated programming and expands into higher intelligence. Unhealthy mental systems do not allow for new intelligence, but hold tightly to outdated programming due to an unhealthy, clogged emotional system that leads to mental instability, dis-ease, which drips down into disease of the emotional and physical strata of the being, which then leads to unhealth and dis-ease and eventually death. Healthy mental strata accepts that its job is to be in the constant receptivity of new knowledge, data, and intelligence to work in unity with the emotional energetic strata to determine what intelligence is truthful for the being to expand into and respawn into a higher intelligence of being, which expands the energetic capabilities and receptivity, which flow down to the physical expansion and healthy regeneration of the physical body. You understand how this regenerative process is divinely designed to keep the being ever evolving, ever expanding, and ever regenerating, hence respawning into a newer and higher expression of intelligence. You understand that, right? Okay, I do. That all made sense to me. I was like, yep, logically, I know that every part of my being is regenerating. That's what this process is. This opening up to new awareness, cleansing, bringing in new data. We got that down. So then they say, why would the creator stop there? Why would the creator not follow this very divinely designed regenerative respawn process on the essence, the spirit, the soul of you? And it says it did not forget this part. Here is what you have been deliberately taught out of knowing. Dear one, because this is where your power of longevity, regeneration, and intelligence resides, within this knowledge, your intelligence and regeneration capabilities expand into infinite possibilities. Your soul is kind of like a rechargeable battery. It is the essence of you. It is the part that powers the entire being. It is designed to send signals of your divine path to your energetic and mental strata for constant regenerative upgrades to your system, which then signals your physical body's DNA to upgrade and regenerate the physical systems of your body. When humans fell from grace at the hands of recalcitrant souls millennia ago, 10 of these strands of DNA were unplugged from the first two, which led to a disconnection of your higher intelligence, which had a devastating effect on the human lifespan, quality of life, and connection to higher intelligence. Because of this alteration in your DNA, you were unable to access the intelligence and power of regeneration we are now sharing with you again. This corruption of DNA is taken advantage of by these recalcitrant souls currently in this time, because the recalcitrant souls keep evolving as well. These recalcitrant beings who have lost connection with their own souls and feed off the remaining energy of your one soul that is becoming more and more depleted by the day. These recalcitrant beings are no longer led by the light of the soul, which has led to the full corruption and malware that operates the matrix of the old flatlined earth. This is why most of the matrix systems are described as soul-sucking and depleting. They are because they are they are run by seen and unseen beings who are soulless and feed off the energy of your soul and those of humanity. They are so corrupted that they can no longer regenerate themselves without the physical, mental, emotional, and ultimately spiritual sustenance that your soul can provide. Because of this time where the frequencies available to you, our higher awareness is catapulting more souls into seeing this deception and removing their energies from these systems. Many of you have heard the clarion call of your soul to regenerate, and the healing journey has taken place. You have been and continue to work to bring your mental, emotional, and physical systems back into balance and health. You have begun and continue to extract new intelligence from these high vibrational energies and eliminate old programming and energies that have been stuck in the body. As you continue this process, your bodies are regenerating from carbon-based densities to crystalline light bodies. Your physical, energetic, and mental strata are becoming stronger and healthier than ever before, but many of you are noticing something that can feel alarming at this point. Your soul is weary. It is tired. It has most likely been calling to you for lifetimes to wake up and has been ignored for so long. Now that it has been heard, its constant direction continues to guide and administer to all parts of you. It has been managing the complete restoration and regeneration of your multidimensional body to prepare you for ascension into the fifth dimensional expression of you. It has been the project manager of the reconstruction of you from the inside out. They use project manager because that was one of my last jobs in corporate world, and I hated it. It was like so much work to manage like it was just so depleting, you know? So that's why they use that word. It is tired. Many of your souls feel as though they too have flatlined, just as 3D Mother Earth has. It has given so much to this awakening and ascension process for you without a break, and its battery power is almost dead with very little to recharge it. Here is what you need to know. The Creator's design was not to give you one soul. You have been equipped with a team of souls that work together to keep you in full power, full functionality at all moments. When a soul is requiring regeneration, it simply requests a backup to come in and take over while it removes itself to regenerate. To use a metaphor you'll understand, an American football team has the playing quarterback during the game. Each team also has one or two other quarterbacks on the bench, each ready to go into the game when the active QB gets hurt or needs a break. These QBs on the bench train equally with the playing quarterback, each know the plays of the game, know the commands, practice with the team, and understand the game. When they are called into the game, they are fresh, alert, and ready to play. Your soul strata or spiritual self operates the same way. You have a bench with fully charged souls ready to step up in the game when the active soul is depleted. These souls are of a resonant consciousness. They reside within you and update as you do. So they update. They know what the plays of the game are. They know what the DNA changes are. They know what's going on. They watch the game of your life as it plays out. They know your mission, your purpose. They know your journey, and they are ready and so very happy when they are finally called into the game. When they step in, you feel rejuvenated, on full power, clear, and regenerated. You have respawned and are ready to continue your game, your ascent, which is what they're calling the game, the ascension journey, the evolutionary soul journey. You to continue your game on full power. Unhealthy and underpowered souls eventually wither underneath the intense healing work that humans choose, or under the choice to plug in and play the game of the inverted matrix. Those in the inverted matrix will never know how to respawn their soul. They will continue to believe they only have one, thus eventually succumbing to physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual depletion and death. Those on the evolutionary journey, that's us, of spiritual awakening will eventually get to this illuminating resonance and regenerative understanding. You can request a respawn at any time your soul feels weary. You do not have a limited amount like normal games do. You do not have a limited amount of soul lives because the creator only creates an expansive infinite love. As one soul leaves the game, it regenerates and will eventually return to lead the game again. It is in full support and gratitude of the team member that takes its place for it to recharge. Dear ones, if you feel you have flatlined or your soul is weary, ask your guides to respawn in a moment of quiet meditation and or prayer. And when I say prayer, all I mean is prayer is how we ascend into higher consciousness. I'm not talking from a religious, if you're new here, I'm not talking from a religious place. I'm talking from a place of here I am. I'm looking to ascend. I'm going to pray an intention, an affirmative intention. Allow your body time to rest while the soul consciousnesses swap out. Kind of like a QB will call time out while its sub enters the game. This is best done before sleep so you can respawn, integrate and change, and awaken fully charged and regenerated. You will want to drink plenty of water. You may feel a little disoriented as the energies calibrate because each consciousness of soul is very similar yet unique. We are all unique as it has its own unique frequency. You may find when these new souls come in that you think a little differently. Maybe your interests change a bit or taste in things shift. These shifts are all part of the healthy expansion of you. Expansion is change. So you will change in subtle ways upon each respawn, but mostly only changes you will notice. Dear one, a weary, flatline soul only leads you down an unhealthy, disempowering pathway, which will negate all your healing work to ascend into the crystalline, multidimensional being you have and continue to become. By respawning as often as needed leads to a clear, concise QB running your ascension game, and a fresh QB loves the game. It's motivated, inspired, clear, and full of love of you and this ascension process. It was made to play this game in your unique way. A healthy soul QB calls the plays that the energetic and mental strata perform in unison and in cohesive, healthy ways that filter down into the physical life that reflects the play the QB called. It reflects motivation, inspiration, clear vision that is full of love. Respawn, dear one. You have unlimited lives in this one physical incarnation. So ask for a full battery, a new QB, and refresh yourself. You are infinite. You are loved beyond measure. You are regenerative, and you can respawn. Do so now to respawn into a higher level of existence. We love you, Leo. Okay, so I'm going to take a sip of my water. That was very, like, totally made sense to me as I was writing that. It made sense as to why that has been withheld from us for so long, because if we knew that we could regenerate and respawn, we wouldn't be so depleted, right? So many people have just had the soul sucked out of them, out of this inverted matrix for so long, that they're just tired, they're depleted, they're easily controlled, right? When we're tired and depleted and anxious and fearful, and it's just like, oh, our souls are so tired and weary. If we knew we could call in a new soul and respawn in this physical existence, it's also, let me finish that thought, then we could continue to repower ourselves. It also makes sense as to why we have been taught that, oh no, you just get one soul, and when that leaves, you're done, right? So that's what I had in the middle of the night at 3 a.m. when there's like, would you like to do this process? I was like, hold on a second. Like, it sounds pretty cool, but I want to sit with this for a minute. I don't want to say yes to something that I've got to, my mind has to be in alignment with. Because at first my mind is like, wait, you're gonna you're gonna let this soul leave? Like, you know what that means, right? Because that's what we have been taught. But when I read that and I heard that, it made total sense to me. It made total sense. So after I after I downloaded that, like I said, I was like pretty wiped. It was a pretty big channeled message. It had a lot of energy coming through. So I made myself a sandwich. And then I sat with it. And y'all, I'm going to tell you this experience because it was so beautiful, and you have to choose for yourself. Okay? You have to do this with a full heart, full trust, full belief, because if there's any fear in this or there's any trepidation, it's not time yet. You have to be at a full a full amount of peace around it and trust in it. And I was there. And so, there's all the jackhammering going on. So I put my earbuds in and put some nice music on. I had YouTube on, and I have a point to that, which I'll come to. So I had nice music playing, and I sat on the couch, and all I just kept saying is, um, "Sweet soul." And now I understand why I always say "sweet souls," because the soul has been my companion for 47, like my conscious companion for 47 years, and has been my best friend for this awakening journey, when I have been very conscious of it, extremely connected to it. And I finally, like, I acknowledged it, and I just said, I understand I understand you're so tired, like, you have given more than you, like, you were expected to give, because I didn't know. And I appreciate you coaching me, and I guiding me in this unknowing. You never left my side. And I'm now allowing you, not allowing, I'm now letting you go. You're like, you get to go and regenerate, and you get to go and get healthy again. And all of a sudden, all of this emotion came up, and so I, like, kind of went into my celestial sanctum. I rise up. It's kind of the process that I do in meditation, and I called in all of these. Oh, it's gonna make me cry. All the light beings that I could, not that I could, but like all light beings I always do. And I just said, I am present, and I am one with this consciousness, this soul, and I am one with everyone in this celestial sanctum. And what I do here, I do for all souls in humanity. And if they choose to have this process done, then let it be done. And if they choose not to, then let it go. And I brought this consciousness out into, this is meant like kind of in meditation, in the celestial sanctum. And as it was sitting there in front of me, I could see all of these beings just beaming love to it. And like, it was as if, like, I mean, it was like a death, but not a sad death. It was like the same experience of when a soul leaves a body, and you kind of go through like all of the memories you have with this soul. And I was taken back to, in Catholic school, and as a Catholic, girl growing up, and sitting in church, and how many times this beautiful soul, this sweet soul of mine would say that, when I hear a hymn, like some of the hymns that I still sing from church were the ones and I didn't consciously know this at the time, but I know it now, when she would say, like, yes, this is the feeling of God, Gus, universe, spirit, this is the feeling of God. And when it became like the fearful kind of like education of religion, she would shut me down and take me to, what are we going to have for lunch today? Like she protected me. So what I took from my religion was this faith and this feeling of God that has now become my life, to be in this feeling every moment. And then then she took me to, it was funny. She took me to, like, right before I got married to my first husband. I remember her saying, like, you sure about this, right? You're sure you want to do this? And I was, yeah, God, I'm 28. I got to have kids. Like, I got to do all the things my friends are doing. And, like the trepidation, or like kind of like the inner knowing that she was like, you sure, right? Like, she knew where I was going. She knew my path, but, free will. And I got to say yes. And only 2 or 3 years after getting married, she was with me when I walked in on that husband, literally pants down in my guest room with another woman, and she said, sweet soul, walk out. She overrode the mind that wanted to pick up and punch them both pick something up and like throw it at him and punch them both in the face. She made me just walk out with grace. She made me breathe. She made me have compassion. 2 days later, she sat with me, and it was the first time I heard her voice on the beach in South Carolina when she said, honey, what part of this is yours to own? Everyone has a part in everything that happens. This is where you take responsibility for your life, every part of it. And she was the one that was like, now let me help you heal. She was the one that was with me when we went bankrupt, when we lost our house, and she humbled me and said, what are you gonna learn? It's just stuff. And she's the one that said, when I was so depressed and carrying the financial weight of my family, I had the corporate job, I had the kids, I had the stress of my marriage being in fucking shambles, and trying to carry it all as if I was the strongest person. And she finally said, you've got to let something go. I let go of the job cold turkey, and she said, you will be taken care of. It wasn't easy, but somehow I started to get lighter and lighter. She was the one that was finally like, sweet soul, it's time to ask for a divorce. She was the one that when I asked for a divorce and that husband went paralyzed literally for 2 more years because his mental and emotional imbalance caused chronic pain to be completely immobilized with a walker. She was the one that guided me to be compassionate and empathetic and said, just take care of him, love him. When my mind resented him and just wanted to be like, you're a freaking burden, I hate you. She was the one that then guided me to finally divorce and be free. And she was the one that guided me to bud and said, it's okay to love again. It's okay to be free. It's okay to trust. She has been there with me on this whole journey. She was the one that whispered and said, let go of everything, trust me. And I have. And in this moment, she was in front of me in the celestial sanctum, and I was just bawling with gratitude, bawling with love as I sent her on her way. And all of a sudden, like, I felt this void. And in that moment in between, there was death there. My body was obviously is still here, and my emotion and mental body were just so invested in this void because I was soulless for a moment in time. And that moment lasted maybe 30 seconds, 45 seconds, as I just sat there in that void, just grieving and thanking and loving this soul, and knowing how long she stuck around for me when her spirit was so depleted and weary, and she was literally flatlined at this point. So she went. And when I was at peace, and when I was ready, I was ready to then connect to the next soul, the next one that was coming off the bench to take over the command center of my being. And at that point, I got the message, you need a new song. You need a new song. And I was like, ooh, okay. Because I just had like meditation music in. So I had YouTube up and I was like, I want something celestial. Like I see celestial angels. So I typed in celestial music and I put the first one on. I was like, oh no. And then I got the message of like, look for the resonance of the soul you want to summon. Who is it you want to summon? What kind of energy of resonance do you want to pull in? So I kept like hitting songs and hitting songs. And in the description of this video, I finally found the song. And when it came on, it was this Celtic warrior song. Like it started, and I was like, oh shit, this is it. And I just like, I started listening to it and I started to feel it, started to feel it, started to feel it. I'm sharing this so detailed so that you can understand how this process is, so that you can invite the same process in. And as the energy of the music rose, I could feel this soul, like this consciousness coming forward. And all of a sudden, from my heart space in the celestial sanctum, still surrounded by angels and archangels and ascended masters, my ancestors, like it's a huge like auditorium of like light beings, all of us connected. It was funny because when it came up, this red dragon came out as soon, and I was like, "Whoa, it's a red dragon!" And immediately I was corrected. They're like, "It's a red rising phoenix," and I was like, "Oh, okay." My mind's like, "Well, kind of looks like a dragon, but it was a phoenix, and it was wild and it was strong and it was like, it was so ready to be recognized. It was ready to be bold. It was ready to be born. It's been waiting for so long. And as I was in this moment of just watching this being, like, yes, like it was free to come forth. I realized that in 2016, right after my divorce, in those first few months of like, just like, I didn't know what to do as a single mom. And I would come home from work from being a project manager. And I was painting, like I would drink like wine and paint. And I had this painting that I made, and there was it was like the funniest looking phoenix too. And next to it, I wrote a Rumi quote, and it said, "You've watched my demise, now watch my rising," or "You've seen my demise, now watch me rise." And it was this phoenix. And the funny thing was, when years later, when we were selling off everything in our home, that painting was in above our couch in our living room. And someone came in and was like, "Oh, I love that painting." I was like, "Really?" Like I'd never sold my paintings or anything like that, but people love like art, like the art that Bud and I had all over our house was ours. And it was the first time we were both like, wait a minute, people like our art. And someone came in and said, "I want that piece of art." And I said, "Oh, okay." She's like, "But I'll come back for it." A couple like days later, somebody came in to pick something up that we were, whatever, selling on Marketplace. And she was like, "Oh my God, I want that piece of art." And I was like, "Well, someone's interested." And she said, "I'll give you $500. I about like literally shit my pants. So we sold it, of course. I was like, first person hasn't returned, like I'm selling it. But I was immediately taken back. Like that phoenix was waiting to rise back in 2016 when I was drawing it. And then couple years later, I drew a phoenix kind of bird in my art journal. And then we ended up here in Albania, and like the Albanian flag is this double-headed eagle that looks a lot like this being that was flying around from my heart today. That it's the incarnation of my new soul. So this being has been wanting to come up. It's been making itself known because it wanted to it wanted to respawn me. It wanted to come forth, but I wasn't allowing it because I didn't know. I didn't know this was part of our process. I didn't know this was part of our power, that we could respawn, that we could call in a new soul that was very much in resonance, that takes us to the next level, that is there, with their mission to take us to the next level. This rising being is now the soul that is going to take me into the heaven on earth. And it is warrior like. It had like chariot from like the tarot deck. It was chariot, or like the queen of swords kind of energy. It was powerful, it was strong, it was courageous, it was warrior. It's ready. And I was so grateful to it, and I just sat with it, and finally I started to breathe it in. I breathed it in, and with every breath I pulled it in. I pulled it in, and I was like, I was not stupidly shaking. Not well, not that it's stupid, but I wasn't like gyrating or anything like that. I was just kind of like I could feel the energy of it, and then I just knew the process was complete. And because it said to sleep, I decided, I was like, well, I'll just take a nap. And I put this really nice music on to ground the energy. Again, I put that song in the description because it was this beautiful like fairy music. It was just really soothing, but I couldn't sleep because the energy was so big at that point. So I got up and took a shower. I felt like I just wanted to shower off. And that was literally 2 3 hours ago that process was complete. I'm curious now. I'm curious with my energy levels, how they change. I'm curious if anything in my personality changes, any of my tastes. I share this so vulnerably and so detailed. I know this is a longer episode, but it was an episode, and I think it's a very key, pivotal point of our ascension process. Again, as these energy centers are coming online, our supernal channels are becoming clearer and clearer. We've talked about that already on these peace talks. And now, when we say our powers are coming online more and more, we are learning more about what power we have. And we have a whole bench of souls that are waiting. That sweet soul that I let go of today, she had reached her level of evolution. She had come here and done her job. It now she has to go regenerate so that she can reincarnate back in with an evolutionary knowledge to bring to whether it's me or whomever she is destined to go serve at her next incarnation. Priya, this rising phoenix, I put a phoenix on my cell phone too, so like that thing's going to be in my visual, mental and emotional strata now for a while, to keep reminding me that I am reborn, I am new, I have a full battery charge now, and it is this red rising dragon that's got a lot of energy, and it feels like the energy that could take me to a higher realm of heaven on earth. So trust this process. Again, if this is something, you have to be okay with this, you have to be all right with allowing that soul to leave, because it goes against like everything conventionally that we have been taught in the religious realm. And there is that moment in time when you are soulless, so you do have to protect yourself, so no beings can come in and take over. But I was in the celestial sanctum, and that's like a pretty protected place that I already know of, and I trust it. So again, there's parts of this that you do have to be, you have to be protected, and yet at the same time there won't be this long distance of time when I let my soul or my spirit get so depleted that it starts to like just takes me out of the game. I'm in this game. I'm going to be ascending. I'm going to heaven on earth. I will be the queen of my domain, and it's not mine. But I like what I mean by that is I will be a steward. Let me just put it that way. I will be a steward of my heaven on earth, and it will be open to souls who want to come, who are resonating. It's going to be exactly how I have seen it, how I've been shown it. But she was too this my sweet soul, my little sweet soul was not powerful enough yet. Like she didn't have it left in her to take me there. So she had to be released, and this new big energy just came in. And it is the one, I believe, the chariot that is going to evacuate me out of this dimensional reality into a higher dimensional reality, because it's got the energy, it's got the fire, it's got all of it. So I'm super stoked and kind of fascinated to see how things start to shift a little bit in my own existence. So really, really cool experience. I would highly recommend it. And I've already seen that when I reach my heaven on earth and I can invite people in to my reality and to my home or whatever it is, we are going to have a respawn retreat. And it's going to be to respawn as a group and bring in new energies together. And it's going to be a pretty powerful experiential experience. So, let's see what you guys are saying. Let me get my glasses. Let's see. Howdy, Heidi. exactly how I feel right now. Naked. Yeah. Financial freak out, feeling you 200%. Yeah. Like this is, we were talking about this, like the flat line, respond, do this process. And there's no right or wrong. It's just you have to be guided. Like each of you will be guided in your own way. You just say, I want to be respond. I ascend into the light of my higher self and ask to be respond, and just go with I just went with it, and I just went with it, really. Goosebumps. Yeah, you described exactly what happened to me in 2008. After also a month ago, I had a dream I was searching for someone. When I found this person, they hugged me. Their face lit up like a light bulb, and it felt a strong electric jolt. Yeah, like another soul being. There is another soul being that came into my consciousness. It's already been in there. It was illuminated. So, I had a peace talks, was it last week, that illumination is coming. Like, it's amazing what we think that's going to mean, but this was a hugely big illuminating revelation for me today to understand this process. This message resonates and is absolutely mind blowing. Yeah, thank you. It was mind blowing. I like, don't thank me. Thank our guides, because y'all, like, if you're here, this, I say this all the time, but you co-created this. Like, many of you are ready to be respond. So this is to really to share this experience, and you all help co-create it. Holy moly, my soul was like tapping out. She's done. Wow. Yeah. I was really done. Like last night, it literally got to the point where I was like, when I asked, what's the point of living? Like, that like there's like, this girl is like full of life, like full of just like, I just want to explore all of it. And when I'm like, I am done, I am ready to be taken out, when I am praying to be taken out of this world, I got my prayer answered, but it didn't come in the way that I was like, I was okay with, like, if you take me out of even this physical body, but I was like, this physical body's really, it's good finally. It's kind of hot. And I've never thought about that about my body. I've fought with it, but now I like it, and it's pretty freaking healthy. It's not going anywhere anytime soon, and I'm sure as heck not going to take it out. So, like, if you could just take me out by taking my soul out, and then my body just follows, like how the old school way of knowing it, I'm fine with that. But it happened in a completely different way. It's mind blowing to me. They did take my soul out, but replaced it with one that was like so much bigger and ready for like the game. Like, it's ready to just keep going. Whoa, processing, respawn, loading. Yes. Like that's how it is. So anyway, so it doesn't have to be this whole long thing. Like, it was a moment, and it was, maybe 40 minutes of time. And we'll see what happens. We'll see what Sundays, or like in 2 days, the next Peace Talks brings. Because y'all, I say this every time. My mind is blown with what these Peace Talks are becoming. And quite frankly, I love them, because I think it's kind of becoming a vlog of my own ascension. It's like a diary of my own ascension experiences. So I have it categorized, or like archived, so I can come back and really have some kind of like, journey that I can follow. Because a lot of it it happens. It's so experiential that it's easy to forget. I try to journal it, but sometimes, like, my hand was just done after downloading that. Like, I didn't want to write anymore. So this is not only like, but it's also, I'm realizing it's becoming training for us to understand these new powers that we have. It's helping us to kind of, like I said, I really appreciate your messages, because when you send them either on Instagram or email, because what's happening is I'm getting your perspective and my perspective, and I'm seeing how everything is very cohesive. The training that we're getting on here, these messages that come through, is to not to validate, I don't like that word, but it's to what's the word? It's to shoot, you guys, I'm sorry, I can't. I'm having a huge brain fart and I can't come up with the word. But these trainings are really to help us understand that what is coming through, what we are being guided, is to trust it. Because I say something and then I get one of your messages that says, I'm so glad you share so vulnerably because now I don't feel alone. The same thing is happening, and here's how it's happening for me. So we are all in this collective reaffirming that what is happening, because we have nothing to show for it at the moment, right, except our experiences and accept our trust and faith in our soul's guidance. But now we're starting to see how it's coming forth. So this was a very visceral and very physical experience, and I'm sharing it with you. You guys, I say you guys, I'm sorry, y'all do the respawn process if it calls to you. And if tell me your experience so that we can start to kind of see how this goes. And now it's archived in this Peace Talks. So these are really exciting episodes. I think I look forward now to them because I'm like, ooh, what message am I going to get, and what is the experiential understanding of that message that I'm going to be taken through to be able to share and watch us as a collective ascend into the heaven on earth. And this is the month where that was one part of the experience too. I, like, as I breathed in this fiery phoenix, I also breathed it down into that earth star chakra, because remember, November is when we are grounding these energies into 5D earth, into new earth, not this one, because this one's flatline. So you're just going to be rooting it in a flatlined earth. So we're rooting it into the new earth, and I rooted it all the way down to that, the earth star chakra. So grounding it in. So I'm anchored in, I'm rooted in, and so is my fiery dragon / phoenix spirit that I have now. Yes, in 2008, I felt like a crazy person, thought I was going crazy. I believe my childhood soul is coming back in. My hobbies I have not done for 20 years are getting started again. Beautiful. Yes. That's the other thing too, like new interests or interests will circle back around, like BC said. So, just as we respawn, let's see, what new revelations, and they may not be so new. It just might be revisiting because we just ignored it the first time around, and it's coming back around. I find a lot of things in my world are coming back around. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is from my childhood. Or I remember doing this, like tarot, as a teenager. I had a tarot card deck, but as a Catholic, that shit would get you to going to hell. So I was like nervous about it, and I felt kind of ashamed of it. But like now I'm like loud and proud. I love my cards and I carry them around and keep them in my purse. So that has come back into my world. I mean, it hasn't really come back. It's been years now that I've been back into it. But really, like doing readings now on YouTube, I never would have done that, but I do. So many things, interests, things, shifts are happening, and they might feel subtle, but I'm feeling like they're pretty major. So that's where we are right now, y'all. Now I'm back to having fun. I'm back to having fun and being excited about this journey, because last night I was dead. I was like, what's the point? There's no point to any of this. I'm just done. And now I know why, because my soul was done. That little sweet soul, she's off flying, doing some fun things now, doing like twists and turns. And this old fiery spirit's down there all quiet and kind of like strategizing, I think, at the moment. So I'm curious to see when I start to really commune with it. But it's in command, and it came out in a commanding presence. So it'll be fun. 2016 is when I had my meltdown. 2016 for me. Man, y'all say 2016. I'm like 2016, 2017, 2018, a couple of them. So like meltdowns have been, they have been pretty damn prevalent in every year, So I don't know. My soul certainly shows a journey and a half of meltdowns and but awakenings from each one that made this journey so beautiful. So once again, I'm so grateful to be on this journey with you all. Thank you for being here. Thanks for being, like I said, it's longer, but it was like it demanded to be kind of detailed and explained, because I didn't want to miss any part of this, because I think this is a really, really important pivotal piece of information, piece of intelligence that will change our lives moving forward. Because anytime we start to feel weary, we know we can stop in that moment and respawn and call in the next the next iteration from something from the bench. And I love that metaphor. It just worked for me. So make sure you tell me your thoughts. I put the music that I use. It doesn't have to be your music. I just to get a feel for it, to just give you the understanding, and quite frankly, to leave myself a little archive of this beautiful moment for me. So thanks, y'all. Love you so much. I'll see you on the next Peace Talks. Mwah. Have a good one. Bye.